Welcome back, to the channel USA Coins 69, coin collectors, treasure hunters, and lovers of hidden history. If you've ever wondered whether a tiny penny could be worth a small fortune, you're in for a real treat today. We're about to dive deep into the fascinating story of the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a humble coin with more value, beauty, and history than meets the eye. So, before you toss that old coin jar or spend that penny sitting on your dresser, stick around. Because one version of this little 1-cent coin has been known to sell for an absolutely jaw-dropping amount. Yes, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars for a coin most people wouldn't give a second look. Let's find out why. Let's start by setting the stage. It's 1957. America is riding a wave of post-war optimism. Elvis Presley is topping the charts, the Cold War is intensifying, and suburban life is booming. It's a time of new cars, TV dinners, and space race dreams. In the pockets of everyday Americans? Pennies, millions of them, including the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Cent. Now, at first glance, the 1957 penny might look just like any other. But look a little closer, and you'll discover that this is far from just an ordinary coin. This particular year marked one of the final years of the iconic wheatback design. That's right, the famous wheat penny design, which had been in circulation since 1909, was about to be retired. Just 2 years later, in 1959, the reverse would be changed to the Lincoln Memorial design we all recognize today. So, the 1957 penny stands as one of the last chapters in a 50-year coin legacy, and collectors know it. Let's talk about the design itself. The front of the coin, also known as the obverse, features the bold and timeless profile of President Abraham Lincoln. Surrounding his image are the words, "In God We Trust," at the top, "Liberty" on the left, and the year, 1957, on the right. Below the date, you may notice a small letter. That's the mint mark, and it makes a big difference when it comes to rarity and value. Flip the coin over and you'll see the iconic wheat ears design, 2 graceful stalks of wheat framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. Just above that is the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. Now, let's break down the mint marks and what they mean. In 1957, the U.S. Mint produced pennies at 2 major locations, Philadelphia, which used no mint mark, Denver, which used a D mint mark just below the date. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 282 million pennies that year. Denver? Over 1 billion coins, yes, with a B. So, with so many 1957 pennies produced, how could one possibly be valuable? Here's where it gets interesting. Even though the total mintage was high, most of these coins were circulated, used in transactions, worn down by decades of use, tossed in jars, and forgotten in drawers. Finding a 1957 penny in perfect, mint state condition, with no scratches, full original luster, and sharp detail, is not as easy as you'd think, and collectors aren't just looking for condition. They're also hunting for rarities, varieties, and minting errors. Some 1957 Lincoln Wheat Pennies were struck with noticeable mistakes that happened during the minting process. These include Doubled Die Obverse, where parts of the design, like the date or lettering, appear doubled. Off-center strikes, where the coin isn't aligned properly in the press. Repunched mint marks, where the mint mark was stamped more than once in slightly different positions, and strikes on defective or improper planchets. These error coins are incredibly collectible. They're the outliers, the rare and unusual coins that make collectors' hearts race. And the combination of a rare error with a coin in pristine, uncirculated condition? That's what makes the magic happen. But grading plays a huge role in value, too. Professional coin grading services like PCGS and NGC use a 70-point scale to assess a coin's condition. A coin rated MS-60 is technically uncirculated, but a coin rated MS-67 or higher is what serious collectors dream about: perfect strike, no blemishes, glowing copper-red luster. Those are the coins that sell for serious money. Let's say you've got a 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny. What should you do? First, check the mint mark. Is it from Philadelphia or Denver? Then, check the condition. Does it still have that original red hue, sharp lettering, and no visible damage? Finally, look for anything unusual, a doubling, a misprint, or a minting defect that if your coin checks those boxes, or better yet, has been graded professionally, you might just be holding something far more valuable than you ever imagined. And now, here's the moment you've all been waiting for. How much can the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny be worth? In most cases, circulated examples of this coin are worth only a few cents. Even some uncirculated ones fetch modest prices. But a rare specimen, with a mint error, exceptional condition, and a top-tier grade, can command a value that turns heads. In fact, one such penny has been known to sell for a staggering $85,000. That's right, $85,000 for a coin that was worth just 1 cent at the time of minting. This is why coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a hunt for history, for rarity, and sometimes, for real fortune. These little copper discs carry the weight of time and the value of curiosity. And that's what makes them so thrilling to discover. So, next time you come across an old coin, don't overlook it. Take a moment to inspect it closely. You never know, you could be holding a piece of American history, or a coin worth $85,000. Today, we're diving into a fascinating chapter of American coinage, the legendary 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This isn't just another coin, it marks the end of an era, carries significant historical value, and believe it or not, one of these humble pennies could be worth tens of thousands of dollars today. So stay with us, because by the time we finish this journey, you might just find yourself checking every penny in your pocket a little more closely. Let's turn back time to 1958. It was a year filled with cultural shifts and historic milestones. America was in the heart of the post-war boom. NASA had just been created, Elvis Presley was at the top of the charts, and the American dream was alive and well. Amidst all this, the U.S. Mint quietly struck the final run of a design that had been in circulation since 1909, the Lincoln Wheat Penny. The wheat penny had become a beloved icon by then. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, Abraham Lincoln, on the obverse, a tribute to his 100th birthday. The reverse, featuring 2 wheat stalks encasing the words, 1 cent and United States of America, symbolized growth, agriculture, and the hard-working spirit of the country. That design had served the nation for nearly 5 decades, and 1958 was the last year it would ever be produced. In 1959, the Mint transitioned to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. That change makes the 1958 penny especially significant, because it was the last of its kind. Now, let's talk about the coin itself. On the obverse side, we see the strong, familiar profile of President Lincoln facing right. The words, "In God We Trust," arch above his head, liberty is stamped to the left, and the date, 1958, is placed on the right side of the coin. Just beneath the date, you may notice a small letter. This is the mint mark, and it tells us where the coin was made. In 1958, there were 2 minting locations for the penny: Philadelphia, which used no mint mark, Denver, which added a small d under the date. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 252 million of these pennies, while the Denver Mint struck over 800 million. So yes, they were mass-produced, but here's the twist: while most of these coins were used daily for decades and show signs of wear, only a small fraction have survived in pristine condition. Even fewer have survived with minting errors, and that's where the story gets exciting. What kind of errors are we talking about? Some 1958 Lincoln Wheat Pennies were struck with double die obverse errors. This means parts of the design, especially the date, the word liberty, or the motto, "In God We Trust," appear to be doubled. The doubling happened during the minting process when the die accidentally struck the planchet twice but in slightly different positions. These coins are extremely rare and highly desirable among collectors. Other errors that increase the value of a 1958 penny include off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, die cracks or breaks, and coins struck on defective or wrong metal planchets. When you combine a rare error with a high-grade condition, you've got the recipe for a coin that collectors will pay top dollar for. Let's talk about grading, because it plays a massive role in determining a coin's value. Professional grading companies like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, evaluate coins on a 70-point scale. A coin graded MS-60 or higher is considered uncirculated, while coins in the MS-66 to MS-68 range are considered premium quality, shiny, flawless, and nearly perfect. Now imagine this: a 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a double die error, graded MS-67 red, which means it has retained its original copper color and luster, sitting in a collector's case today. That's not just a penny, that's a showpiece, a conversation starter, and possibly a major payday. So how do you know if you have one? Start by inspecting your 1958 penny carefully. Use a magnifying glass to check the details, especially around the date and lettering. Look for signs of doubling, mint marks that seem slightly misaligned or repeated, and any other unusual features. And if your coin looks sharp, with minimal wear, and a bright coppery red glow, it could be worth sending to a grading service for a professional evaluation. Now, let's get to the most exciting part of today's video. You're probably asking, okay, this sounds amazing, but what is the actual value of a 1958 wheat penny if it checks all the boxes? Well, here's your answer. While most 1958 pennies in circulated condition are worth just a few cents, a rare, high-grade 1958 wheat penny with a minting error, especially one with a double die obverse and in pristine condition, can fetch a staggering price on the collector market, and one such coin has been valued at a breathtaking $80,000. That's right. $80,000 for a single, 1-cent coin. Isn't that incredible? A coin that was once worth just 1 cent could be worth more than a luxury car, a down payment on a house, or even someone's annual salary, all because of its rarity, beauty, and history. That's what makes coin collecting so thrilling. You never know what hidden gem might be sitting in your change jar, your grandparents' coin collection, or even in a random roll of pennies from the bank. So don't ignore that old wheat penny. It could be more than a piece of copper, it could be a key to the past and a door to something truly valuable. Today, we're unlocking the story behind a coin that might be sitting unnoticed in your collection or coin jar, the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Don't let its small size fool you. This little copper piece has a rich history and, in some cases, a shocking value you won't believe until the very end. So, if you're holding on to any old pennies or have inherited a few dusty jars of coins, you'll definitely want to stay tuned. Let's rewind time to 1954. America was deep into its post-World War II boom. The country was thriving, rock and roll was being born, families were buying their first homes, and the interstate highway system was just getting underway. Amid all that growth and optimism, the U.S. Mint continued producing one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Lincoln Wheat Cent. Now, the Lincoln Wheat Penny was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. It made headlines as the first coin in U.S. history to feature a real person's portrait, a major step away from the more symbolic designs of previous coins. The wheat ears on the reverse side symbolized prosperity, hard work, and America's agricultural strength, values the nation prided itself on during that era. By 1954, the design had already been in circulation for 45 years. Though it was still common, coins from this era are now approaching vintage status, and in the world of coin collecting, age is only part of the story. What really makes a coin valuable is a combination of rarity, condition, mint mark, and sometimes, minting errors. Let's talk about the design first. On the obverse, you'll see a familiar and powerful profile of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right. Above his head is the motto, "In God We Trust." On the left side, Liberty is clearly printed, and to the right, the date, 1954. Just under the date, you might see a small letter. That's the mint mark, and it can make all the difference. In 1954, the U.S. Mint produced pennies in two locations, the Philadelphia Mint, which used no mint mark, the Denver Mint, which used a D mint mark. There was also some minting in San Francisco, but it officially ceased production of pennies in 1955. So, for the 1954 Lincoln Cent, we're focusing mainly on Philadelphia and Denver versions. Now, both mints produced tens of millions of pennies that year. But what sets apart a valuable 1954 wheat penny is not just the quantity, it's the quality. You see, most of these pennies went straight into circulation. They bought candy, newspapers, bus rides, you name it. After decades of use, the vast majority are scratched, faded, or discolored. But a select few have survived in exceptional, uncirculated condition, untouched by time, still boasting that bright copper-red shine, sharp details, and crisp lettering. These are the coins collectors are always searching for. Even more exciting errors and rare variations. Some 1954 Lincoln Wheat Pennies contain minting mistakes that make them even more valuable. These include Doubled Die Obverse, where parts of the date or text appear doubled; repunched mint marks, where the mint mark was struck more than once in slightly different spots; off-center strikes, where the design is visibly misaligned; and even die cracks or die chips, small imperfections in the metal caused during the minting process. These flaws might seem minor, but to collectors, they make a coin one of a kind. And that uniqueness translates directly into higher value than theirs. Grading. Coin grading is a professional system that evaluates a coin's condition on a scale from 1 to 70. A 1954 wheat penny graded at MS 60 is uncirculated, but one graded MS 65 or higher, especially in red designation, meaning it kept its original reddish copper tone, is a serious prize. Those top-tier examples are incredibly rare, and when they feature an error or rare mint mark, their value skyrockets. So, how do you know if your 1954 penny is special? Here's what to look for. D. Mint mark under the date. Denver minted coins in high condition are especially collectible. A bright, lustrous copper-red color with minimal surface marks, doubled lettering, misaligned images, or any other visual oddities. No signs of wear on Lincoln's cheek, jaw, or coat. If you've got a penny like that, it's more than a lucky find. It might be a hidden treasure. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. What's the actual value of the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny? Well, most circulated examples are worth just a few cents to a few dollars, depending on condition. But, and this is the important part, a rare 1954 wheat penny with an error, in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, and properly graded by professionals, one of these rare specimens has sold for a jaw-dropping $89,000. Yes, you heard that right. $89,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that a coin once casually dropped into pockets, vending machines, and piggy banks could one day be worth more than an entire luxury car, or even a down payment on a house. But that's the magic of coin collecting. These coins are not just currency, they're history, art, and sometimes, pure gold in copper clothing. Today, we've got a real gem to talk about, a small coin that might be hiding in your collection or sitting quietly in a dusty jar somewhere. It's the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny, and believe me, this humble 1-cent piece could be worth way more than you'd ever imagine. You might think a penny is just, well, a penny. But once you dig into the story behind this one, you'll start to see why collectors around the world are willing to pay thousands, yes, thousands, for the right one. So don't blink, because you won't want to miss a single second of what we're about to uncover. Let's travel back to the year 1953. The Korean War had just ended, Queen Elizabeth II had just taken the throne in the UK, and in the United States, President Dwight D. Eisenhower was leading the country into a new era of growth and innovation. It was a time of change, progress, and pride, and the coins minted that year carried all of that in their designs. Enter the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This penny continued the beloved design introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait, and not just any person, but one of the most respected and influential leaders in American history. On the obverse side, Lincoln's iconic profile faces right, surrounded by the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," to the left, and the year, 1953, on the right. Just under the date, you may notice a small letter. That's the mint mark, and it plays a big role in understanding the coin's rarity. In 1953, pennies were minted at 3 major U.S. locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, with a D mint mark; San Francisco, with an S mint mark. Philadelphia struck the most, Denver came in second, and San Francisco struck the fewest. And in coin collecting, fewer usually means more valuable, especially when you factor in how many of those coins have survived the test of time. Flip the coin over and you'll see the reverse: 2 sheaves of wheat surrounding the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. This wheat ears design is what gave the coin its nickname, Wheat Penny. Above that, the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, ties in the spirit of unity and strength. Now, while millions of these coins were minted, only a tiny percentage exist today in pristine, uncirculated condition. Most were tossed into pockets, used in everyday purchases, or simply worn down over decades of circulation. So, finding a 1953 penny in mint state condition is no easy task, but there's more. What makes this particular year truly exciting for collectors is the presence of minting errors and variations that make some 1953 pennies incredibly rare and valuable. Let's look at a few. Double die errors. These occur when the coin is struck twice with a slightly misaligned die, causing parts of the design, like the lettering or date, to appear doubled. These are collector gold, repunched mint marks, RPM, where the D or S mint mark was punched more than once, showing a shadowed or overlapping appearance. Off-center strikes, where the design isn't aligned properly, giving the coin an unusual look. BE errors, a small die break that appears between the B and E in Liberty, looking almost like an extra I. These small flaws can have a huge impact. They transform what would be a common coin into a unique collectible, sometimes one of a kind. Now let's talk grading. Coins are evaluated on a 70-point scale, with MS or mint state coins starting at MS 60 and going all the way up to MS 70, which represents perfection. A 1953 wheat penny graded MS 66 red or higher, with full original copper color and no scratches or wear, is a top-tier find. Collectors pay a premium for coins with vibrant color, crisp detail, and, of course, any rare errors. But here's the real question everyone wants to know: what's it worth? Well, most 1953 pennies in average circulated condition are only worth a few cents, maybe a couple of dollars if they're in better shape. But when you find one that's truly special, uncirculated, possibly with a rare mint error, and professionally graded, you're looking at a coin that leaps out of ordinary value into extraordinary territory. And here comes the big moment you've been waiting for. Are you ready? Because one ultra-rare, mint condition, error variety 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny has been appraised at an astonishing $99,000. Yes, you heard that right. $99,000 for a single penny. It's the kind of treasure that most people would overlook, maybe even spend without thinking. But for those who know what to look for, it's a hidden fortune. And that's the thrill of coin collecting. It's not just a hobby, it's a journey through time, a hunt for history, and sometimes, a path to something truly valuable. Today's episode is all about the incredible world of pennies, and we're spotlighting one that might surprise you. You've probably seen it 100 times, maybe even held it without thinking twice. But what if I told you that a simple 1981 Lincoln cent could be worth a small fortune? That's right. It might just be sitting in your drawer, hiding in a coin jar, or tucked away in an old piggy bank. But there's more to this coin than meets the eye. Let's dive deep into the mystery, the history, and the real money value behind the 1981 Lincoln cent, a coin that's often overlooked, yet could turn out to be one of the most valuable pieces in your entire collection. Let's start with the basics. The Lincoln cent, originally introduced in 1909, was designed to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. And although the famous wheat reverse design ended in 1958, Lincoln's face remained front and center, an enduring symbol of American resilience. By the time we get to 1981, the Lincoln Memorial reverse had been used for over 2 decades. The penny was still being made primarily of copper, 95% copper and 5% zinc, to be exact. That would change the very next year, in 1982, when the mint switched to a primarily zinc-based penny. Due to rising metal costs, that little detail makes the 1981 penny a part of a very specific and important turning point in U.S. coinage history. It's among the last full copper pennies ever produced, which already makes it a collectible of interest to many enthusiasts. On the obverse side of the 1981 cent, you'll see the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln facing right. The motto, "In God We Trust," arcs above his head. Liberty is struck to the left, and the date, 1981, is positioned on the right. Just below the date, you'll sometimes find a mint mark, a small letter indicating where the coin was made. for 1981, 3 U.S. Mint locations were involved: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D, mint mark; San Francisco, S, mint mark for proof coins. Now here's where things start to get exciting. While billions of 1981 pennies were made, only a tiny fraction are truly rare and valuable. Most circulated freely and show signs of heavy wear. But there are rare gems among them, coins in uncirculated or proof condition, or better yet, coins that feature minting errors that slipped past quality control. These are the coins that collectors dream about. Let's talk about some of the rare variations and errors that make certain 1981 Lincoln cents so sought after. Doubled Die Obverse, DDO. Some 1981 pennies show doubling in the lettering or the date. Look closely at Liberty or In God We Trust. If the letters appear shadowed or doubled, you might have a double die error, an extremely collectible trait. Off-center strikes. These coins were misaligned during minting, resulting in a design that's shifted or partially missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin. Wrong planchet errors. Occasionally, a penny was accidentally struck on a blank meant for another coin, like a dime or even a foreign coin. These wrong planchet coins are extremely rare and can be worth thousands. Repunched mint marks, RPMs, especially on 1981 D pennies, the mint mark might have been punched more than once in slightly different positions. This results in a noticeable shadow or doubling of the mint mark, a subtle but highly collectible error. Proof coins with anomalies. Proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint are already made with extra care and detail, but if one of these high-grade coins contains an error, like die polishing marks, weak strikes, or missing elements, it becomes a target for serious collectors. Now let's talk about condition. Coin collectors use a 70-point grading scale, where MS stands for mint state. A 1981 penny graded MS 65 red or higher, meaning it's uncirculated with a bright, original red luster, is already rare. But coins that grade MS 67 or MS 68 red, especially with one of the rare errors we just mentioned, are on an entirely different level of value. And here's the best part: some of these coins are still out there, because the 1981 penny looks so common, most people don't realize what they're holding. It might just be mixed in with your change. You could literally be walking around with a six-figure coin in your pocket without even knowing it. So, how can you tell if your 1981 penny is special? Here's a checklist. Does it have a deep red copper color, with no signs of wear? Is there doubling in the lettering or numbers? Does it have a mint mark? And if so, is it doubled or misaligned? Is the coin perfectly centered, or is the design off? Has it been stored in a way that preserved its shine and detail? If you said yes to any of the above, or you're just not sure, it might be time to have your coin professionally graded. The tiniest details can mean the difference between pocket change and treasure. And now, for the big moment you've been waiting for. So what's the most a rare 1981 Lincoln penny can sell for? While most are worth just face value, or maybe a few bucks to the right collector, a truly rare 1981 penny, one with a stunning error, immaculate condition, and professional grading, has sold for an absolutely astonishing $100,000. Yes, you heard that right. $100,000 for a coin that was once worth just a penny. That's the magic of the hobby. It's why collectors everywhere keep hunting, inspecting, and preserving coins. Because one little cent, if rare enough, perfect enough, and unique enough, can change everything. So, if you've got old pennies lying around, don't ignore them. The 1981 Lincoln cent might just be your hidden jackpot. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into coin collecting, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss another episode filled with history, mystery, and value beyond imagination. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep your eyes open, and happy collecting.